Is talk a little bit about ESPN and how it came to be, because I think it's an important piece of the Connecticut landscape. We employ over 6,500 folks, making us one of the larger employers in the state. And in fact, through the newsletters that you are sending out, or the email blasts, I'm walking around campus at ESPN, and people are coming up to me and goes, "I went to Prep, and I went to Prep," and so we got a number of Fairfield Prep alumni up there, which is great. That makes sense. Sports, Connecticut, ESPN, Prep, it all works. And as you'll see, I think there's some similarities between our company and kind of the things we all took away from Prep, and that's community. Our founder, George Bodenheimer, started at the beginning, 1979, and he has he started as shoveling snow, and he's built a great community. It's a difference maker, and we'll talk a little bit about the culture there. But let me get started. I think the three things that separate ESPN from, make it a little bit different from the pack, and by the pack I mean the other media companies. I worked for a number of years in New York with ABC, part of the Walt Disney Company, part of ESPN. But ABC was like NBC or CBS. I mean, they were interchangeable parts. You could work at ABC and the next week be working at NBC and it'd be all the same thing. And about 7 years ago, I was out at the U.S. Open golf tournament at Shinnecock, and I had known George. We both at the same company, similar meetings, and was talking about some things. We started talking about moving over to ESPN, handle the radio, and kind of build the Hispanic business that we are very proud of and is an important piece of our future. And he said, "Why don't you come on over?" And I wound up coming over, and it was culture shock. It really was for the media business. It was very unique, very different than anything I had seen previously. Is Bill Rasmussen, who is the founder of ESPN. And his original idea was to broadcast a daily show for 1 hour on the Hartford Whalers. And so that was his vision. And so he started getting into it, and he said, "Well, if we're going to do the Hartford Whalers, let's cover UConn Husky sports, and let's cover I think it was at the time the New Britain Red Sox." And so he started looking into it, and they're originally going to be in Plainville, Connecticut, but Plainville had an ordinance that said no satellite dishes, and you needed a satellite dish to get your feed up. And so they moved to Bristol, and by the way, that has been Bristol's gain and Plainville's loss in a big way. But that's how it started in Bristol, and obviously the rest is history. We were young, and we were beginning to build a brand then, and but because I mentioned a lot of young people working on a startup, a lot of mistakes were made. So I thought you'd enjoy some of those mistakes. But we didn't know it, I think, at the time, but the company was building a brand. And that was, hey, we cover sports seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. And that has permeated to this day. A lot of humor, just remembering, hey, at the end of the day, it's sports. And to keep that sense of humor, and I think it served the company very well. And the brand over time began to strengthen. And I'll tell you, again, I mentioned I came over from ABC about 7 years ago. I've been blown away by the power of the brand. It is at the top of the food chain in sports brands around the planet. It ranks higher than Nike and Coca-Cola and even the Olympics. It is absolutely phenomenal what has happened. That little 1979 trailer up in Bristol, Connecticut. But it's with ESPN Deportes, which was a fairly new business. It's only been six years old. But just kind of putting that brand up and then delivering on that promise of our mission statement to serve sports fans. It has evolved a little bit since then. We'll talk about that in a second. But instant credibility, and there's a lot of responsibility, obviously, that goes along with that. But it never ceases to amaze me. Fortunately, from those early days, we got better. We added some better product from ping pong and from Australian rules football. You can see that up there. I think of all of them, maybe many of you are aware, we just signed a long-term deal with the NFL, which will keep Monday Night Football on ESPN for another 10 years. Should get at least some of us through to retirement. And football is the king in this country. It dwarfs all other sports in terms of popularity, ratings, and revenue, and obviously the money they make as well. The mission was at the beginning to serve sports fans. We kept it simple. I equate that to the kind of the Jesuit men for others in the sports world, right? Serve sports fans. It's giving. And I think the beauty of keeping a simple mission statement is it keeps everybody focused in the company. And it really is. This isn't just like the thing that gets hung up in the corner office and or in the hallways. People live this, and it guides the discussion. Are we really serving sports fans? We don't bat 1,000. Nobody does. But that is the guiding principle. At the end of the day, is this something sports fans would like? Are we serving? Is this that gave birth to the Watch ESPN platform. It's, hey, people are going everywhere. They want to know what's going on. They just don't want the scores. They like the live play-by-play on their phone. If they're in a horrendous meeting, they can always turn the volume down and just watch it on their PDA under the desk. There you go. So we talked about we talked about mission. All 6,500 of our employees know what it is. Talked about our culture. Again, going back to the early days, it's really the secret sauce that drives our company. And then the importance of obviously the brand and staying true to the brand promise. I think the final key is passion. People with passion over-deliver. I've started reading Steve Jobs' biography, and he says, man, one of the, besides the LSD trips and the Reed College experience, there's a lot of good stuff in there. But he talks about how you have to have passion. Work is hard enough. If you don't have passion, you just can't get it done. And I think that's a real difference maker. And and let's make no bones about it, we are blessed up at our company because it's easy to be passionate about what we do. It's sports, but the people we have up there are, they're sports fans on with high octane fuel, and it's a big difference. Our latest thing is called Watch ESPN. So if you're a Time Warner subscriber or a Verizon subscriber, you can get authenticated and you can basically watch ESPN anywhere you want on your smartphone, on your PDA, or on your tablet, which is where the world is going. And we view technology as just heaping more places for us to get our content out and helps grow our business. Mustard seed is, thank you for mentioning that, and if you'll indulge me for a minute or two, was started by a guy named Father Gregory Remicassoon, who was at Boston College when I was there. He was a grad student. We didn't know each other then, but he left to go to Jamaica about 30 years ago to Kingston, which those of you who don't know, Kingston is right now it's the most violent city in this hemisphere. And that's because, just as a quick aside, the infrastructure in Haiti is so awful that all the drug trade moved to Kingston. So that's why Kingston is so violent. But anyway, he started it 30 years ago, taking in, talking about you can't fulfill the need. In these awful places, abandoned kids that are either physically or mentally disabled, right? So these literally people living in places without a pot to pee in. They are left on they have kids that either have severe mental or severe physical disabilities. Put them outside, and he began collecting them, to be blunt, and that has spread to the Dominican-Haiti border, to Nicaragua, to Zimbabwe, and it is an incredible organization led by an incredibly, who I'd love to get to Prep sometime to speak, charismatic figure. I describe him as a modern-day Mother Teresa with a sense of humor. He really does have a sense of humor, but he's been walking for 30 years barefoot among the people that need it the most, kids that can't help themselves at all. So it's a great organization, mustardseed.com. And we do trips. We're doing a trip to Zimbabwe in February. If anybody wants to go along, let me know. I really appreciate it. Appreciate this very much.
Thank you for that great behind behind-the-scene look at ESPN and those amusing clips from back in the origin, the genesis of ESPN. We have a little gift here to thank you for
Oh, wow.
this
Thank
great
you.
time
Thank
together.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And
So,
thank you
thanks.
all. Thanks for